Hi guys, my name is Timo Maas and you're listening to the Liverpool Connection Podcast.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Liverpool Connection Podcast. I'm your host Daz. This is my football and music one-on-one episode where I bring on a musician who is obviously into music but also into football. And it's really nice today because he's an actual Liverpool supporter and I haven't had a Liverpool supporter on for quite some time. I've had Timo Maas, who is not a football supporter. I've had Lee from Pump DJs, who's not really a football supporter. So it's nice to actually be able to talk football. But my next guest is a DJ, producer, audio engineer, Grammy nominated, also is co-owner and founder of 36dB. I welcome Barry Jamieson to the podcast. We have actually been chatting for the last 45 minutes about politics, which we've got that all off our chest now. And he was telling me some stories and I had to stop him because I hadn't pressed record on the mixer yet. So, it's great to have you, Barry.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
It's so good to have a Liverpool supporter back on. You know, I've felt...
Nice to talk to a Scouser as well because it's my hometown. I was born in Everton.
Ooh,
but I'm not a Blues.
I know. Well, I mean, I have two Blues in my family. They're cousins, but I barely talk to them. And when I do,
my granddad was the only one.
I rub it in because there's nothing really good about being a Blue shite at the moment.
It's a nice stadium though.
Yeah, hopefully in the Championship.
Yeah. So
they'll stay up like they have the last couple of seasons. I mean, are you one that you'd like them to go down? Because I would like them to go down for a season just to get a taste of the Championship and then come back up. But we know how that usually is. Like Leeds went down, didn't come back up for a long time. But
I don't know. It would cause too much anguish between certain pals, so I wouldn't want to burn too many bridges. But no, I mean, you'd think a shiny new stadium would definitely change things there, but there's a few more things need fixing, really, aren't there? You know.
Yeah, I mean, But
then again, I mean, look at our change recently with Arnie. You know, everyone was kind of, what the hell's going to happen? And changing the head of an organisation like that, with a manager. I mean, it's not just about the team and the players. It's everyone around that's part of that infrastructure. And a lot of guys come in and they chop a load of heads off and put their own people in and all the rest of it. So it was always going to be a really nerve-wracking thing for Liverpool supporters to put up with after losing Klopp, who was such an animated and passionate supporter more so than a manager. The guy fell in love with the city and the people, and of course the team. And Arnie was going to be very different than that. I think he's going to come around and he'll understand the ethos of how to be successful at Liverpool isn't just about results. It's everything else that you've got to do as well. And I read an article about Klopp. When Klopp first came to Liverpool, one of the first things he did is he met Shankly's granddaughter. Mm-hmm. And he says, I want you to tell me about your granddad. And he wanted to know what was it about this man that was so important for Liverpool. And it was the people. It was always the people. If you win them, you'll win all of it. And I think that's a real measure of a man, isn't it? When the first thing he wants to do, he wants to know about the history and what made these people the way they are. That to me just speaks volumes for him, But you've got to give it Arnie. I mean, we're getting the odd fist bump. It's not quite as animated as Klopp, but he understands he's got to salute the fans, you know what I mean? And the results speak for themselves, don't they, really,
To me, again, my granddad's years, the Shankly and Paisley.
Yeah.
Paisley was the quiet one. And that's the thing. We're not going to get another Jurgen Klopp. He was animated. I remember the first day in Liverpool, he went out for a pint, went to a pub, to take in the city. Slot, he's a bit more reserved, but I like it. It's like every press
me too.
doing, you see his personalities coming out more and more, and he's so smart. But like, Klopp has left Liverpool Football Club in such a good position. I remember when old red-nosed Fergie left United. He left United in a bad state. The squad wasn't that. I mean, I think they won the league, but they were aging players. And Klopp, we all know where we were in last January when, Klopp came out and said what he said and broke our hearts. But you could see it on his face, and you saw that
he was tired.
He was knocked, and still people don't understand that. They're trying to, come up with like, oh, FSG didn't give him enough money. No, Klopp was knackered. You could just... He
was burnt out. Yeah, he at that level, with that pressure and the success of it all, we had great results. Yeah, we had great years, but there's always some dips and dark moments within that kind of journey of any season, and they're hard things to take, and having your protective armor on for the criticisms and everything else. That wears that away over years and years and years. And I think every year the expectations must get that little bit more greater. And what you expect of someone at year 10 and what you expect at year 1, it's volumes, do you know what I mean? And it's funny, the way we were talking about politics before, you look at like Obama and Bush, the year they came into office and the year they left, they look like different men. They'd aged more than 10 years, even though they'd only done 8, you know what I mean? And Klopp was there as well. I mean, you look at him when he arrived, there was no grey bits in his beard or his hair or whatever. But the poor guy looked knackered. But, still, what a journey that was. What a journey. Do you know, the bit that pisses me off the most about all of it is the way Salah's been so ignored of what his contribution to football's been, as in being recognised with the Ballon d'Or. The year we pretty much won everything, and yet Messi still got it. Yeah, he had a great season and all the bloody rest of it. But when you look at all of the trophies we'd won at that time period, and the amount of goals that were scored, and the amount of assists that he always does, how the hell was that not in the top 2 of that particular year? You know what I mean? We'd won everything.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you're not a Liverpool supporter, who I think the Ballon d'Or is a bit of a joke anyway.
It is.
Messi and Ronaldo just kept winning it. It was just a race to see who gets more between those two. Messi would be winning it for just scoring goals for Barcelona and not winning the Champions League, but winning La Liga and scoring that load of goals. While Mo's been doing it consistently, not just goals, but assists. There was this whole thing I watched on the Overlap the other day. Some lad was saying, Mo only scores goals. Mo Salah is 5 assists away from Beckham's record.
Yeah.
And Beckham was...
He'll beat all of them.
Yeah, he's 7 away from Thierry Henry's goal scoring in the Prem.
Yeah.
It's just insane the amount of time even the pundits were saying the other day, even Cara and all that, were talking about Kevin De Bruyne being the best in the Premier League era. I'm like, did you just sleep on Mo Salah? You must have done, because I've just
done the last 10 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's why I always say,
consistent.
I laugh at people. The one season wonder that's been doing it for 7-8 seasons. I just don't. Some people bring up it's because he's African and all this.
It's because he's a Muslim. That's what it is. I think more than anything, it's because he's a Muslim.
People start to think that because you're just like, why is he not getting recognition like you should? He's still world class. He had a few dips, here and there, just like any other player has, but he's been world class since he put that shirt on for Liverpool.
Oh, I know he has. And he knows that. I mean, I saw a thing earlier. You know, my dad was saying he's going at the end of the season, but I've just seen something floating around on social media now that he's willing to sign a 4-year contract and end his career. I mean, that's a lot to give somebody at 32.
It is.
Whether it's true, I don't know. But if he's committed to do that, and then I can't sign it in a frigging heartbeat.
But I think I understand. I mean, I'll just say this now. This episode won't go out for like 2 weeks. So, you know, if we'll look like right in our beds if Salah's signs tomorrow. You know, for you growing up, who was your childhood hero football-wise?
I think early on it was Kevin Keegan. I mean, where I kind of grew up, I grew up in a small village called Loughton, which is close to Haydock and Lee, like 5 miles from Wigan, 2 miles from Lee, which is where my parents moved to when we moved out of Liverpool when I was a kid. And at the top of the East Lancs Road where the M6 was the Haydock. There was a petrol station right there, and I remember one day I was with my dad, and we were putting petrol in the car, and next minute there's a Ford Capri pulls up, and out jumps Keegan. I was like, shit, it's Kevin Keegan. I must have been about 6 or 7. My dad says, go and ask him for his autograph. So I walked over, and he went into the trunk of his car, pulled out a poster, shook my hand and signed it and gave it me. I said, you drive around in that with him in your car all the time? He says, oh yeah, I'm always getting asked. I thought it was brilliant. So I had that put on my wall for a long time. And then, of course, you know, when he was going, everyone was like, you're never going to replace Kevin, you know, and then along comes the king. And Jesus Christ. It was, yeah. I mean, it was such a nostalgic time then, you know, we're doing the European 77, 78, you know. It was just such an unstoppable kind of momentum for us as a club then. And football was hard then. I mean, you needed some frigging hard bastards in the midfield, you know. And, you know, you got Emlyn Hughes, you know, Toshack and all the rest of it. I mean, it was just another era, wasn't it? You know what I mean? And it was magical being a kid at that time, you know, because half of my mates were United fans, or they were either Liverpool, you know. And then we moved down south with my dad's job. My dad used to teach in prisons, and we got moved down to near Cambridge, and we lived in a small village there. And it was difficult at first, you know, because when we were trying to kind of assimilate into the community and everything, it was kind of standoffish because we were these northerners from up north. They're all weird up north, you know. And my dad's way of kind of handling it and dealing with it for us was he started a football club on a Sunday. Girls, boys, doesn't matter. Everyone can come. And another guy who was friends with him got involved as well to help him out. And within a couple of months, you know, half the kids were being kicked out of their house by the parents. So, yeah, just go and play football for a bit, you know. And it was down in the field in the middle of the village. And of course, not long after that, they started doing the Coca-Cola Awards. So my dad basically signed in to do that. So we all started doing that as we were kids. And it was great. You know, no one was any good. We were just having a laugh and we'd play local teams and all the rest of it. But it was more just a thing for me and my brother to kind of learn to mix and make friends and stuff and kind of get established in this new area. And it was great, you know what I mean? We really had a good laugh. And my dad loved doing it as well. You know, he was always kind of involved in things we were doing. You know, we just thought it was because he wanted to keep an eye on us. But it wasn't. He just wanted to be involved and, you know, be around us and all the rest of it, you know, which definitely wasn't kind of his upbringing, you know. So that was kind of the start of a love affair for playing football and that. And, you know, by the time we left the village, 10 years later, half the village were Liverpool supporters. They still are to this day. I still keep in touch with a lot of the kids from when I was 10, 11, 12, and they're all diehard Reds, and their kids are as well,
But they're also right.
Yeah. So it was fun, But I mean, that whole time period, though, I mean, it was magical, wasn't it? You know what I mean? I remember both 77 and 78. We moved down there in 76. We came back that weekend, to meet up with family and stuff, to watch the lads bringing the trophies back on the bus, driving through the city. It was amazing, But, when Klopp finally won the Champions League, I was watching that, I was in New Jersey at that point, and watching that on the TV, that was just on another level, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
I think the whole city was out.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we won the Premier League, I was going home, and then
right,
because we were 25 points clear before COVID hit, and so I was like, I'd already booked the ticket, everything, and then obviously
you just wanted to be home for the end of the season, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously, it didn't happen. So yeah, I really hope it happens sometime soon, because the city needs it. We need it.
We do. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's weird, though, because I think the team's definitely in a bit of a transition phase at the moment, not just because there's been a new manager appointed. I think there's certain players that, career-wise, there's quite a few egos flying around a little bit at the moment. And I think being influenced by other players, one being Alexander-Arnold, him and Bellingham are pretty bloody tight, and I think he's really trying to persuade him to come to Spain, get into European football and stuff. Look at Coutinho. The grass is never greener on the other side, is it? You know what I mean? And he was really starting to become his own, and he was consistently getting goals and was a bloody handful. And he walked away from all of that thinking it was just going to fit right in with a new team and new management, all the rest of it. And it did anything but that,
But it was a little different, though, with Coutinho, because with South Americans, their number one teams are Barca and Madrid.
Oh, of course they are, yeah.
So I kind of understood that. But Trent being a local lad, I'm like, we all know Michael Owen went to Madrid and it failed.
Yeah.
The only scouser that really did was, Maka. And, the thing is, I think if he stays, he's going to become a legend.
Oh, he already is.
And he probably will become the captain of Liverpool when Virgil's ready to, leave.
No doubt.
So, if Trent stays...
He's going to go all the way through, isn't he, the team to that point, you know what I mean? It's inevitable. So...
But, I mean, if he wants to go, then, he goes. And there's nothing we can do.
No.
Bradley's coming through. Obviously, Bradley's nowhere near Trent. He's
a good lad, though. I mean, the guy's got skills. There's no doubt of that.
Defends, and he's
a hard bugger as well. He's not that big compared to other players, but he's a hard little bugger. You know what I mean? He's, I think, like you were saying earlier about Klopp and his real investment in the future of the club and the new talent and the academies and all the bloody rest of it. I know that, they're doing the academy out here now. They've done stuff in Dallas and Houston and Austin as well. And there's so much soccer, as they call it here, but there's so much football over here. I mean, it is a massive sport in the US. It might not seem it from the leagues and all the rest of it, but every weekend there are hundreds and thousands, probably millions of kids playing football in the US. And that's the reason they've got scouts out here, because they're going to tap into this whole massive melting pot of American kids and kids who are coming up from South America, families that are moving here to be close to where there's so much going on. I mean, Dallas. I mean, we have so many facilities here; it's insane. I mean, and they're not cheap places as well. You know what I mean? There's one place where my son trains called MoneyGram, and there's like 32 full-size soccer pitches, and it's like a frigging golf course. Grass. I mean, you know how hot it gets down here. And how much water their water bill must be to keep that grass looking like that all year round. It's just insane. And I mean, the brilliant facilities, brilliant, and we were in Austin 2 weeks ago. We played in Austin on the Saturday. He was in San Antonio on the Sunday. The weekend before that, he was in Houston. And this weekend, we had local games, but they were within an hour. But we've got something coming up in Colorado. I mean, it's all over the frigging place, but it's great. I absolutely love it. You know what I mean? And the coaches are great,
Well, it's nice, Barry, to see, because both of us have lived over in the States for a long time. We've seen the progression of football.
Oh, yeah.
And it is nice. MLS, I still can't watch it. I just can't. But I've been to a couple of matches like live, and you're having a couple of bevies, so it makes it a bit better. But watching it on telly, I just can't do. But you've got
kind of with you.
Messi's come to the league, and there's a bigger attendance now.
It's making a difference. There's no doubt.
Got the World Cup coming up, so these young kids are looking up, going, "I want to be in the next."
It's inspiring for them, isn't it?
But I think if America wants to really compete for the World Cup, then a lot of these players need to go abroad. They can't be playing.
Oh, no doubt.
It's just not going to cut it. They need to go to places like England, start in League Two, League One, Germany, Bundesliga, start playing there if they want to. Because the way it's going, I don't see the US ever winning the World Cup. That's just me. Just because.
Yeah. Well, I follow the women's as well because my wife played soccer. She loves soccer. She got a scholarship at college for soccer and basketball. So she was like a bit of a badass on sports as well. So it's always been a big thing of hers. So she used to play with a women's soccer team for the New York Athletics Club, who sponsored them. When I met her in New York in 2004, so we hit it off straight away because she was playing. She's mad about football, and I got into the women's US team, and I've seen them win 3 World Cups and freaking brilliant games, real high standard. It's not what I expected it would be, and you kind of look at where that is now. I mean, the last Women's World Cup, I think there was more people watching that in the US than there was the World Cup. It was it's mad how big it is. When I've been watching, like the Liverpool's women's team and stuff like that as well. I mean, I've got friends who live in London and they go to watch all the women's games because they're really cheap. It's not expensive to go to watch and it's in the same stadiums and all the rest of it. And they're packed. So it's apparently there's a lot of support. And I'm not unaware of that because I've been here for years, you know what I mean? But apparently it's a really kind of a big thing in the UK now, which I think is great. I mean, whether it gets televised as heavily as the Premier League, maybe not in our generation, but the momentum of the amount of people who do physically want to go watch the games is vastly underrated from when you look at the TV that it gets. Do you know what I mean? I think, these stadiums, you can get 50,000 people in watching a women's game. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it is. And a lot of it goes towards trying to get a ticket for Anfield is like gold dust, So it's either people are watching the women's game or they're watching lower leagues now. Yeah, it's because they love football that much. But I mean,
or they watch the under-21s or something, the kind of youth teams and stuff like that.
Well, it's great to watch the under-21s as well because then you can see some of the lads that
Yeah, well, the guys are in the team now. I remember being back at Christmas a couple of years ago with mum and dad's, and Connor was playing and flipping, Jones and stuff, and my mum's pointing these kids out. Yeah, these kids are going to go places, and
well, there's loads that saved for a few years to go over.
Oh yeah,
I love these videos where they video themselves walking up the steps and then seeing green grass. And I mean, even for me, I was a season ticket holder for years. A
lot of my cousins are.
I've been going since I was 6, and I always get goosebumps walking up to Anfield.
Oh yeah,
always. And just seeing these people that go there for the first time,
very emotional. Even for you, Because it's you remember going with your granddad or whatever else, do you know what I mean? And then it being such a magical kind of moment, so overwhelming, you know what I mean? You're just this little kid in this huge place. And for them, that was them when they first fell in love with the club, when they were 5 and 6. So even though it's took an whole lifetime to get there, it's them still as a kid, It's no different, is it? It's our church, isn't it, mate? So,
100%.
There's just something. It's holy grail, isn't it? Really, you know what I mean? It's very, very hallowed ground.
So I wanted to ask you your thoughts on what's your real expectations for the season?
It's a tough one. With any season, it's about injuries and players staying healthy and all the rest of it. I think whatever Arnie's doing with the team, he's definitely got them focused. There's no doubt of that. I mean, we didn't have a good game at the weekend. I thought a couple of players were really, really poor. Canate was frigging all over the place. I don't know what the hell was going on with him. But we finally pulled it out the bag, and, we never give up until the final whistle. You should never underestimate Liverpool. But we don't exactly make it easy for ourselves sometimes, and it's kind of frustrating, But the one thing I'll give Arnie, you can be on that pitch for 20 minutes, and if you're having a shit day, he will take you off.
Yeah.
Where Klopp would always be like the 65th, 70th minute, wouldn't he? Which to me sometimes you really wished he'd done some of it at half-time, because giving someone 20 minutes to make a contribution, when you look, when Diaz came on, the whole frigging team just went up a gear, so. But he reads the game very, very well, and I think the kind of players he's putting in, depending who we're playing against, you can tell he's studying those other teams meticulously, and he does get a lot of it right from the first whistle, you know what I mean? But if like I said, if you're not cutting it, you'll be out as soon as he thinks, you need to be. So, and I think the players are starting to respect the decisions he's making and his choice of what happens when it goes on. You don't see many players coming off frustrated, when they're being replaced by someone else or whatever. There was definitely a few times, especially towards the end of the season, with Salah, with Klopp, was not happy. And, Nunes is definitely a bit hot-headed at times, but there's utmost respect, I think, for what his decisions are, for what it's for the greater good. And I think at this point, if we consistently keep the momentum we've got going on, that respect foundation should stay there. Where the challenge will come for him as a manager is if things don't start to go well, how the players react to his management kind of style, frustrations and everything else. I think if he can keep that in check and utmost keep them focused, I think we'll be all right. But we're starting to show that we've got a good consistency about what we're doing. But when you look at the last game we just had, playing against City or Arsenal, I think might have been a different outcome, But then again, the one thing about Liverpool is we always show up to big games. It's the games we're supposed to win that we fuck up, Well,
I mean, you go back, right, and let's say the Klopp era, we play Southampton, we lose that game.
Mm.
I just think Slaughter's got us playing more controlled, and we're not doing, this crazy heavy metal football. We're controlling games more. I mean, I've read that stat where Southampton didn't get in our half for nearly 12 minutes. Right. That's how good we were. But yeah, I mean, I just think we're going to have a bit ups and downs. But at the moment, I think when we lost to Forest, and I wish we didn't, but we did, and I think it really brought the best out of Slot. The Slot dissected everything, and he, and it happened early on in the season, which is good, and he was able to work on things better with the players. So I just think the biggest thing is the injuries. We've got as we know with City shouldn't be a one-man team with how much they've spent, but
no,
they miss Rodri so much.
Oh God, yeah.
And even Kovacic is out. He's another, defensive midfielder. They really don't. If you watch a City game now, they have so much space for the opposition. For us, I think we just need to, we're getting Harvey back. Jota should be back soon. I'm still invested in Chiesa. I still think he can do the job.
Yeah,
he just did the pre-season. He's had those niggly little injuries, but if he can crack on from January till the end of the season, I think we've got a decent little player in him. But I love what Harvey contributes to a game as well. You know what I mean? He's a little dynamo, isn't he? You know what I mean? And I think we missed him with 100%. Oh God, I really do think we do as well. And I think the way you link, I think Connor can kind of link up like that quite a bit with Salah, but I think Harvey definitely has something with Salah. When they're on, they kind of think the same way in a lot of ways, and I love to watch them when they're doing that. You know what I mean? But I think Núñez, I think he's come back a different player after that last the was it the Copa America, whatever it was. When him and Diaz were away, they definitely came back pretty fired up, didn't they? You know what I mean? And they really did put themselves both on the world stage on that tournament, probably more than anything else, because there was a lot of expectation of them because the Liverpool players. But boy, did they play! You know what I mean? They both had brilliant tournaments, and then to come back, Núñez gives 350% every frigging game he plays. He never stops. It's just that last bit. He should be hitting the target. You know what I mean? And I think he's improving and he's getting better. But it's a lot of that's confidence. Do you know what I mean? I think it's when he needs there's too much time to think.
Yeah.
That's when he wellies it over the bar. But I mean, we know...
The link-ups with Salah right now, scary, isn't it, mate? I mean...
It is. They work really well, but the great thing I like about Núñez too, though, is he's a handful for defenders.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll always track back. You'll see him sprinting back, and I love that about him.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's all over the pitch.
Diaz does the same thing. I think maybe it's that South American blood, because Suarez used to kind of do it as well. You know? But if he can just stop being offsides, quite a few game and just get his head in the right place, I think he can score 15 to 20 Premier League.
No doubt of it. No doubt of it.
I just think at the moment, yes, we're winning games, but it just seems like he's not getting the service.
No.
Should. And when we should be passing to him, like over the weekend, I think it was Diaz. Diaz should have passed to him.
And he did. He's trying to do too much, wasn't he?
Yeah, but, I just think, get through this holiday period and see where we're at. Too many people already talking after 12 games, as pundits like to do, this bollocks. Oh, it's Liverpool's to lose. What are you talking about? You're absolutely talking cod shit, because it's 12 games. That's it. Yeah. 12.
Nothing. We're just starting to get into a momentum now, aren't we? A little bit, it's. I mean, you've got to think about. I mean, especially when the last few years we had been in a lot of tournaments and a lot of cups and stuff like that. How many frigging games were we playing a season? Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous. You know what I mean? But we were playing more games than anyone. And that can be detrimental to a team, whether it be injuries and stuff, but also it can make a team a lot sharper if people stay fit, because there's just so much more doing it. And I think 12 games is nothing, I think we still need to find some momentum or some kind of relationship between certain players on the pitch. I mean, Szoboszlai, I'm not totally convinced with him yet. I don't think he's consistent enough. But McAllister, I adore. I think he's a fabulous player. And him and Nunes do have some kind of telepathy shit going on, this South American thing. I don't know what it is. But they always seem to instinctively know where each other are going to be, you know. And, when they're on it, friggin' hell, they're a handful, you know.
Ask me in, like, February where we're at in the league.
Yeah.
You know,
and you know what happens at Christmas, mate? It can go bonkers, can't it? All of a sudden, it just goes shit for the first part of January.
Exactly.
When you're really on it, you know.
So yeah, February, you kind of know where the team's at. So yeah, I'll come back in February and probably see where we're at. It's just a bit silly, people saying, you know, it's Liverpool's to lose. They just want to say that just so, like, if we don't win the league, they'll be like, you had this 8-point lead and you let it slip.
We've done that loads of times, you know, and then you look at that year, you know, I think City were like 14 or 15 points behind us, and they managed to claw all the way back, and there's like a point in it or whatever, you know what I mean? No one thought that was doable. And fair play, you know, to Pep and that team. I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, they just wouldn't let anything go, would they? You know what I mean? And that was probably one of the best comebacks. And, you know, you kind of get too comfortable sometimes, don't you? Thinking, oh, yeah, we're fine here. But a lot can happen in 2 or 3 games and it can all turn to shit.
Oh, yeah.
So unless you're 25 points clear, like you mentioned earlier, you know what I mean? You're not in a comfortable place at all, are you?
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just... You know, like I said, February, see where we're at, see if we're, you know, in the final of the League Cup and all that. So, yeah, I look forward to this season. I'm a realist, though. I've never made a prediction in my entire life.
No, I can't. I don't want to go there. It can't even jinx it, you know what I mean?
We'll just see what happens.